I'm Jon Dick.
And I'm Kostas Kyriakoulakis.
And our Spotlight project would be hoping to look at microplastics in the natural environment. And microplastics are a very emotive topic. There's current ongoing both societal and governmental schemes aimed at cutting our reliance on plastic and plastic waste.
Most of the microplastic research is focused in the ocean, and this is where they have been identified for the first time. Although we do know that most of it actually comes from land, but we don't really know the exact processes and the transport pathways and the times that it takes to move from one system to another.
And this is really what our project's hoping to do. Sources of microplastic are very important. So where does this plastic come from when it enters a river? It's coming from the land, quite obviously, in most cases. But is it coming from maybe me wearing this fleece and washing it? Maybe we're washing microplastic fibres down the plug hole. But maybe it's also coming from either storm runoff from streets, or maybe from discharges from landfill sites. And really tracing where these sources of microplastic are coming from is the important part. But then also working out how they move through the system. So when they enter the river, how are they transported? And what happens when they leave the aquatic environment and begin to enter into the marine environment?
And of course, in areas such as the Mesa that have huge tidal ranges, some of the biggest in the world, we don't really know how this affects the distribution of the plastics. Do the tides, for example, bring more plastics, maybe collect from somewhere else, or do they remove them onto other areas? And of course, the link with urban centres such as Liverpool, coastal cities, is not very well explored at all.
So what we're going to do is, I'm the aquatic guy, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sampling rivers to work out where in urban population centres that this plastic is coming from.
And also we're going to be sampling the full tidal range so that we can get a better understanding what the tides are doing. On top of that, we are going to look at fish, particularly fish that live both in the freshwater systems and the marine environment, to actually try to pinpoint where they get most of the pollution and use them more or less as markers to understand more of these processes.
And if we got this Spotlight project, what would it allow us to do is to actually maybe answer some of the things that we don't know about microplastics, mainly where it's sourced, but maybe how it's staying in the environment as well, and how it moves through the marine environment too. And hopefully the data would be able to be used in developing industry partnerships where we can begin to look at how we can remove this plastic from the environment.